friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am Taylor. I'm a stay-at-home wife and mom, and I share these What's for Dinner videos every Sunday to hopefully give you some new meal ideas and to motivate you to cook more for your family. That's why I started these videos, was to motivate myself, and I ended up motivating y'all as well. And I love that. I love hearing that you guys are getting motivated by my videos too. So if you like these kinds of videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Love to have you come back every week and watch my videos. And as always, any recipes that I mention will be linked in the description box down below. Now let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. It is Friday night, and tonight for dinner I just took some ham out of the freezer from Thanksgiving and reheated it in a pan. My dad used to always do this with leftover ham. He would like fry it up, get it nice and crispy, and then we'd eat it like for leftover, like for dinner or for breakfast. So that is what I do with that. And then I just heated up a can of green beans the way I always do, some butter, chicken bouillon, pepper, and then I did Badia Complete, and then I made Hashbrown casserole. This is a copycat Cracker Barrel recipe, the same one that I always make, and I didn't show me making it tonight because the kids and I have had a cold for a couple of days, and just like my sinuses are all like congested and everything. You can probably tell in the way that I sound. So I just did not feel like setting up the tripod and filming me something that I've made many times already on my channel. So these are the kids' plates, and that is my plate, and that is going to be dinner for Friday. Okay, it is Saturday night, and as you can see, we got some Domino's pizza. As I mentioned yesterday, we are all getting over a cold. Even Andy now, he is not feeling well today, and he said he wanted pizza and breadsticks instead of the chicken Alfredo I was going to make. So we ordered pizza and breadsticks. We got his favorite, which is the crunchy thin with the Philly steak, Alfredo sauce, tomatoes, and feta. We got a handmade pan with ham and feta, and we got a hand tossed with pepperoni and extra cheese. And then we got their Parmesan bread twists with some marinara sauce. And yeah, hopefully we'll all be feeling better tomorrow, and I will be back to cooking, but just wanted to do easy pizza tonight. Sunday night, I tried a new recipe for Italian sausage and white bean soup. This is perfect for like a night when we were like getting over our cold. I was a couple days behind the kids, and then Andy, he didn't really seem to actually get the cold. He just wasn't feeling well for like one day. But soup is perfect when you are just a little bit sick. Soup is always really good. So I started off by cooking up half a pack of bacon that I cut up with my scissors and 1 pound of Italian sausage. Once my meat was browned and my bacon was crispy, I took all that out and set it to the side, and I left all that oil and grease from the meat in the pan because we're going to add our onion to that. I did about half of an onion, and then I also added in some carrots. I think I did like 3 or 4 carrots. I did a little bit extra carrots than the recipe called for, and I also added in the carrot with the onion. It said not to add the carrot until later, but I thought it would be good sauteed with that onion, so that is what I did. But I will have the original recipe linked down below for y'all. After letting that saute for about 5 minutes, my onions were softened to my liking. I added in some minced garlic, and I just let that saute for about 30 seconds. Then I added in 4 cans of drained and rinsed white beans and some water, and it's actually supposed to be chicken broth, but I did 5 cups of water and then 5 teaspoons of the Knorr chicken bouillon, and then some rosemary and some Italian seasoning. The recipe only called for 4 cups of broth or water, but I went with 5 cups because I could tell the soup was going to be really thick based on the photos, so I wanted to thin it out a little bit because we don't prefer like super thick soups, so that's why I added an extra cup of liquid. And then I just took a potato masher and gently mashed some of the beans, not all of the beans, but just some of them, to like help thicken up the broth just a little bit. She said you could like use an immersion blender, but I thought that was a little too much because I did still want like some whole beans in the soup. And then once I had enough of them mashed, I added in my meat and then brought this to a boil. Once it came to a boil, I reduced the heat to like a medium low and covered it and simmered it for about 15 to 20 minutes. After simmering for 15 to 20 minutes, I just checked my carrots to make sure that they were soft enough. And then I added in 2 cups of spinach, which just takes like 1 to 2 minutes to wilt. And then you can taste it for any seasonings. I think I added some black pepper to it, but you could add salt or pepper, whatever you need. Definitely didn't need any salt with me using the Knorr chicken bouillon, but I know I did add pepper to it. And I forgot to get a picture of this like in our bowls, but we just had this with some crusty Italian bread on the side. And it was delicious. That bread like dipped in the broth, so good, perfect for a night that we were just a little bit sick still. Monday night I made stuffed chicken thighs. This is a recipe I have shared before, but it's been a very long time since I made it. So long the kids were like, "You've never made this before?" And I was like, "Yes, I have. It's just been a while." So you start off by preparing 2 boxes of box stuffing mix according to the package directions. So I like to boil my water in my kettle, and then I don't even have to cook it on the stove or the microwave or anything. So you just get your stuffing mix like in a bowl, add your butter, and then pour over your hot water, and then fluff it with a fork, and then put a lid on it and just let it sit for like 5 minutes, and then it's done. Super quick and easy. While my stuffing mix was sitting to the side for 5 minutes, I got my chicken thighs prepped. So I'm going to season them on both sides with some garlic powder, some onion powder, some 21 seasoning salute from Trader Joe's. You could really use any all-purpose seasoning that you like, and then some thyme. Then I took a big spoonful of that stuffing mixture and put it on top of each chicken thigh. You're not going to use all of the stuffing. The rest of the stuffing is going to go around the chicken thighs in your casserole dish. Then you just take those chicken thighs and kind of roll them up. Basically just fold them in half so that the stuffing is inside. Some of it might fall out, some of it might not. Whatever, it's fine. And then you take the rest of that stuffing mixture and put it all around the chicken thighs in the casserole dish. Then you're going to want to prep some chicken gravy. I'm using chicken gravy packets, 2 packets, mixing it with 2 cups of cold water and just heating it according to the package directions. You could just use a jarred chicken gravy if that's what you want to use, but I decided to use the chicken gravy packets because it's definitely cheaper than buying the jars of gravy, and it takes up less space like in the pantry. Then you just take your gravy and pour it over your chicken and stuffing mixture in your casserole dish. And then this goes in the oven at 375 for 25 minutes covered with foil, and then another 20 to 25 minutes with the foil off until your chicken is cooked through. And here is the finished dinner. We just served this with some green beans on the side. I'm just showing you mine and Andy's plates because for the kids, I have to cut up their chicken so it looks nothing like mine and Andy's, which actually has the stuffing still inside of the chicken. The original recipe for this had you just use 1 box of stuffing. I couldn't even find the original recipe for this anymore. I tried, but I will have it listed out down below the way that I make it. When I first made it with 1 box of stuffing, I thought it wasn't enough stuffing because I think the original person had you making this with like rice or mashed potatoes or something on the side. And I was like, why put more work into it to make another side when you could just have more stuffing? So I just made more stuffing and we really like this. It's really good and pretty easy to make. It does take a little while to cook in the oven, 45 minutes to an hour to bake the chicken, depending on the size of your chicken breasts. Smaller, or the size of your chicken thighs. The smaller the chicken thighs, they're going to take less time to cook, but the bigger ones are obviously going to take longer to cook. Tuesday night, I made steak burrito bowls. So I started off early in the day by getting my steak together with a marinade. I make this marinade all the time. Whenever I make steak burrito bowls, it's our favorite. So I just mixed together some lemon and lime juice in a bowl with some minced garlic, some cumin, some soy sauce, some olive oil, some cilantro, some paprika, and some salt and pepper. I don't measure any of these ingredients. I just kind of eyeball it and add a bunch in there. And as you'll see, I was being kind of lazy and didn't want to use my like juicer, so I just used tongs to kind of like squeeze out all of the juice out of the lemon and lime, and then I just toss like the whole thing in there with the meat. And like for the cilantro, you don't even have to worry about cutting up the cilantro. You can just add the whole pieces of cilantro in there because we're just going to pick out the meat when we go to cook it. Once I had my marinade mixed together, I sliced up my steak. I like to slice it pretty thinly, and this is a London broil that I'm using. And then I just put it in the marinade, put the lid on this, and let it sit in the fridge for a couple of hours. When it's time to cook the meat, I just heat up my cast iron pan over a medium-high heat. I'm using my smaller cast iron pan here, so I did have to cook this in batches because I don't want to overcrowd the pan. And I just cook it a couple of minutes for each side. And here are the finished bowls. This is basically supposed to be like Chipotle at home. So I make cilantro lime rice. I will have that down below for you guys. I just make my perfect white rice and then add cilantro, lime juice, lemon juice, salt, and pepper to it. Super easy. And then I made some black beans. We had our steak. We had cheese, lettuce, salsa, pico. Elijah just had lettuce on his. Lily just had salsa on hers. They don't like a lot of toppings on their burrito bowls, but they do love the rice, beans, meat, and cheese. Wednesday night, I made Cajun chicken Alfredo. So I started off by bringing some salted water to a boil to cook 1 pound of pasta. I'm using this kind from Aldi. I don't even try to say the name, but I like to use fun, different shapes of pasta. I feel like it just makes things taste better sometimes. And then in a skillet, I am melting some butter with a little bit of olive oil to cook my chicken. And then once that was hot, I added in some thinly sliced chicken breast that I seasoned with Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and Cajun seasoning. And I just let that cook until the chicken was done. Once my chicken was done, I removed it from the pan and then I added in some grape tomatoes and let those just cook for a couple of minutes. Then I added in some Alfredo sauce. I ended up rinsing this jar with a little bit of heavy cream because it was a really thick Alfredo sauce, and I really wanted to get all of the good stuff from the inside of the jar. So I put in maybe about 1/4 of a cup of heavy cream and then shook that around to get everything out of the can or jar. And then I added in a bunch of black pepper and a bunch of Parmesan cheese. And I mixed that around really well and let it simmer for about 10 minutes. Then I went in and smashed those tomatoes just a little bit, and then I added in my pasta and my chicken. I tasted it to see if I needed to add any more pepper or salt or anything, and I think I did end up adding more pepper. I always add more pepper, I think. Again, I forgot to get a picture of our finished plates, but we had this with some broccoli on the side. And this recipe is actually a family favorite. I've been making this recipe since 2018, I think is what I have written down. It originally came from Amanda over at Mom's Messy Kitchen. So I will have her video from way back in 2018 linked down below for you guys. And you can go over there and see how she made it. Thursday night I made lemon pepper salmon. This is another recipe my family loves. It's probably our favorite way to make salmon. So I just like to brush our salmon fillets with a little bit of butter, and then I sprinkle on some garlic powder and some lemon pepper seasoning, and then I top it with a couple slices of a lemon. And then this goes in the oven on 425 for between 15 and 20 minutes. I always like to pair the salmon with some sort of rice or pasta, so I am making garlic parmesan orzo. I'm starting off by bringing some salted water to a boil, and then once it came to a boil, I poured in about 1/2 of a box of orzo. When the orzo was done cooking, I drained it and then returned it to the pot. And I returned it to the stove, but with the stove off, but that heat left over on the eye will help melt the butter and the cheese. So I added in about 1.5 tablespoons of butter, some parsley, some garlic powder, and some Parmesan cheese and salt and pepper. And to go with our salmon and our orzo, I made some zucchini to go with it. That's one of our favorite things to eat with the salmon. And I like to put like lemon juice all over the whole plate, including the orzo. It's so good. But yeah, that is going to do it for this week's What's for Dinner. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave me a thumbs up. And I wanted to let you guys know I posted last week, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I plan to try to do the same thing this upcoming week. I plan to have a video today, but I'm not going to post on Monday. But then I plan to have a video Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So make sure you guys look out for that if you like my other videos. I plan to probably do 2 vlogs and 2 hauls. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!